Bienvenidos al podcast de Joy. Mi nombre es Eduardo Joy, inversionista de bienes raíces. Hoy con un invitado mega especial, otro inversionista de bienes raíces, Cherif Medawar. Cherif,
Thank you, Edmond.
bienvenido.
Gracias.
Bienvenido.
Gracias, igual.
Are we doing it in Spanish? ¿Lo hacemos en español?
I wish, but my Spanish is not so
Okay.
good.
So, para las personas que no conocen a Cherif, él es un inversionista de bienes raíces y él pues, nos va a explicar su historia, cómo fue que comenzó, etc. So, Cherif, I want to introduce you to my audience because if you're a local investor and you're heavily in real estate,
Yes.
we obviously know who you are or have heard of you. But if you're maybe not that so much into real estate, but you're looking to get started, maybe they don't have context of who you are, what you've done, and your contribution, and your portfolio, and all that. So, can we give them some context? What's your superhero story, man? How do you even get started in real estate? You could just take me back to the early days.
Well, great. I started in the hotel business. So my goal was to become a hotel general manager. And I was in Los Angeles, California, working at a hotel called the Century Plaza Hotel.
How do you even get the idea of becoming a hotel general manager?
My father owned a hotel in Cairo, Egypt. I'm half Egyptian, half French. And what happened is every time we had a party or a special event, my dad took us to the nice Hilton, the nice Marriott Hotel, etc. So I grew up thinking, hotel business, that's a lot of fun. And that's how I said, well, that's what I want to do. When I grow up, I want to be a general manager. Maybe I own my own hotel one day.
Maybe it wasn't a thing of like it seemed like a far out dream, right?
That's true. That's
Or
true.
were you already thinking I'm going to become a major player?
I first thought I can become a general manager if I work hard for 10 years. That was, sometimes to teach somebody that they can fly, you have to teach them they can walk, they can run, they can pick up speed. Oh my God, they can actually fly. But if you tell somebody who is sitting down, you can fly, it's too big of a
gap.
step. Yes, exactly.
And that's what happened to you. So you're like, okay, let me start as a general manager.
Yes.
So how do you even start at that? Do you go to school for that? Like how
Yes,
does that?
I
How does
went-
one become that?
I went to intensive classes in a Swiss school, they have the best education for this. I took hotel administration and finance. Then I went to UCLA in the United States. UCLA is the University of California in Los Angeles. And I took administration with emphasis in hospitality. And immediately when I came, I started to work at the Century Plaza because in the early 80s, it was rated the most perfect hotel in the world.
Most perfect hotel in the world.
It
Was it
used
a
to-
5-star hotel?
Yes, 5-star, 5-diamond. It used to cater to the presidents of the United States. It was called the Western White House. It had the best system. It was a Westin hotel. As a matter of fact, the hotel was built in an angle like this. We had a presidential suite with a special machine gun on top that if any helicopter will come like at the level of the hotel to shoot at the presidential suite, automatically the special bazooka, it's called, would shoot the helicopter faster than it can actually, like as soon as it comes to the line
Boom,
where it can
detect
shoot.
it.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then actually
Wow.
that layout of the hotel was for the Secret Service to protect if there is an attack. They cannot attack from an angle. The Secret Service will win all.
So it was built
really
with that
amazing.
in mind.
Yes, yes.
It was built to host the
Yeah.
president of the United
In
States.
the lobby, you would see movie stars and all this. And I started as a management trainee, and I started working up. I used to work 12, 14 hours a day, and a billionaire, a hotel guest in the name of Edmond noticed me. So
How did he notice you?
well, I was working from morning to evening, and one evening he came to the hotel. This is a very good question. He came very late. It was 2 in the morning, and I was closing the restaurant because I was working management trainee in the food and beverage. And he came over and he said, hey, sorry, I just arrived. I'm very hungry. Can I just have this apple? I said, absolutely. So I took the apple and I gave it to him. And I said, what room are you in? And he told me the room. And I said, I think I saw you last time. You're Mr. Baysari. He said, oh, I'm impressed. You know my name? I said, yes. And I said, I also know that you have a special made Rolls Royce parked downstairs. Whenever you come, you use it. This very wealthy people stay there. And he said, oh, you know about cars? I said, yeah, this is designed by Pininfarina, the designer of the Italian Ferraris. How did you get him to go to the British factories to do your car? So we had a conversation of a few minutes. He was very impressed that I knew all this, and he left. He told me later
Wait,
on.
hold on. This is amazing. First of all, how did you choose that hotel? Were you aware of,
yes.
of proximity? Like, were you already forward thinking like that, or was it?
It's a good question. So to make it in life, there are certain criteria you have to do. For example, you have to be in a big city. if you're in the hotel business, be in the best possible hotel. You have to network the right way because life is knowledge, so you get to get educated, action, so you have to work hard, and networking. Most people don't network. So I wanted to be in a big, well-known hotel so I can network with the wealthy, see how they do the perfect service, how do you service in the restaurant, how in the front desk, how do you take your game to the next level.
Who taught you that?
My dad, really.
Your
My
dad.
dad, my dad was very much an entrepreneur, and that's
He
how
made you. He made that aware of like Sharif. When you go, you
Yes.
go to the best.
He said, look, you can't just work smart. Some people say work smart, don't work hard. He said you have to work hard first because 80% of your effort will give you 20% of the results. And once you understand, you can then work smart, make more of the 20% that gives you the maximum results, and that's how you become very successful in the shortest period of time possible. Because you only have so much energy, so much time, so much money, so much credit. So you leverage this by having more knowledge, take more action, and network. So when I got to the hotel and I started networking with people and talking to guests, I noticed that guest because he would come by himself and he had this beautiful Rolls Royce, special design. I'd never seen something like this.
Right. How were you into cars?
I always liked cars. I always wanted to have nice cars, etc. And ironically, now that I made a lot of money in my life, I don't go crazy about cars. I'm
Why is
actually
that?
very humble. Because I realized you don't need to have a lot of things in life. What's important is love, actually. What's the most important thing? I love my kids. I love the people I work with. I love my staff, my students. It just gives you a lot more in life. The more you give love, the more you get love. And if you give love and you don't get good love, you give more love. Like Martin Luther King said, the only power that can change an enemy into a friend is love. So I realized, oh, I have cars, I can maybe upset people. Maybe they're gonna get frustrated or jealous. I don't even wear a watch.
Right.
I try to be as humble as possible. I can die getting hit by a bus if I'm a billionaire or if I'm just a pauper, you know.
And then you learned that from the billionaire?
Yes, every person I learn from, even when I teach in my classes, because I wanted to give back to people. I know how hard it is to make it in life. Everybody struggles. As soon as I started making money and made big money and created the formulas to make money, and I learned from Edmond because I worked for him for 8 years, I said, well, how can I give back? A lot of people give to the church or give money. I want to give my time. And I said, what's better is to give my knowledge. And I started training people. And what's amazing is the more you give, the more you get. You don't give to get, but you give out of faith. But what ended up happening is people started coming more and more to my trainings, which made me more knowledgeable, which made my action bigger, my network bigger, and life changed. And then people in 2009 said to me, can we give you the money and you invest it for us? So I created the real estate fund, and then things started growing. Then I started helping people to put their own funds,
So going back to the billionaire,
Yes.
I mean, you put yourself in a position to meet the guy.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
then
I was
you
at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing in the right way, for the right reasons, with the right people. So he was there and he said, I see. He stopped me in the lobby and he said, Sharif. I said, yes, sir. I was walking. I was supposed to be off that day, believe it or not. And I was running to the cafeteria to eat because I'd worked since very early. It was almost noon. And he stopped me. He said, Sharif. I said, yes, sir. How are you? He goes, look, I've watched you work from 6 in the morning to 11, 12 at night. Why do you work so hard? What's going on? I said, sir, I don't know if you noticed. I have a golden name tag. He said, what does that mean? I said, they identified me as a potential general manager. They told me if I work hard for 10 years, I can maybe become a general manager. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, you're working around the clock. They tell you what to do, what to say. He said, you need to come and work for me. I said, work for you to do what? He said, I have properties around the world. I don't want to travel that much. I want somebody to travel, speak on my behalf, make the deals on my behalf, make things happen. I have watched you. You have a lot of energy. You're always so enthusiastic and happy. You think I was happy? I was excited? I got scared. I said, sir, thank you for that. I don't know residential real estate to do international, commercial real estate. And he grabbed me by the shoulder. I'm sorry, I'm doing it to tell you. And he said, Sharif, you're at the right place at the right time. Just say yes. I said, yes, I'll do it. I'm standing in the lobby. I don't even know what I'm saying yes to. And he said, okay, I have your full name from the name tag. I'm going to get you a flight. I need you to fly to New York so we can talk for 2 days. Where are you going to be? I said, downstairs at the Cafe Plaza. He said, there was travel agencies in the lobby. He said, I'm going to get you the flight. When are you off? I said, Tuesday and Wednesday. He said, you fly in Monday night, I will see you Tuesday morning at he owns
His
hotels
office.
and stuff. Yeah. I said, wonderful. He owned a couple floors at the Trump Towers. He went down the escalator. I remember standing in the lobby of the hotel thinking to myself, what did I just say yes to?
Right.
And then I thought to myself, does he have benefits? Because in the hotel I had free food, had free vacation 2 weeks. So I ran down the escalator, Mr. Bay, sorry. But he didn't hear me. All I saw
Oh
was the
my
back of
gosh,
his
thank you.
Said, thank God he didn't hear
Thank
me.
God.
Can you imagine, sir, do you have any benefits? Because I'm going to the cafeteria. He would have said, you're not the guy I'm looking for.
Yeah, you're out.
So, but life works in mysterious
Wow.
ways. So I went and I started working with him, and it was unbelievable because the man, Harvard Business School called him the man with two brains. If you go to LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you will see my picture with him. I was 25, 24, standing with him, and behind us a chateau, a castle, the Chateau de Madame de Pompadour, which is the Louis XIV mistress. He bought it from the government of France. That guy was a legend. Harvard called him the man with two brains. He could look at a piece of paper with all the numbers of the hotel. He would look at it. I'm having dinner with him. He hands it to me and we're eating. And he says, how come in the restaurant we have this and this? I'm like, how? We just printed it. I know I brought it from the accounting office. How can he had photographic memory. It's 1 in a million maybe that are that intelligent. So I sat next to him for 8 years to speak on his behalf because he used to get very mad. Like if people don't work out, he would just flip out.
Okay, so a few questions there. What did that do? What being around him do to your confidence, your self-belief, your just you as a person in general? Did it like how was Sharif before and then like during those years of apprentice? I'm curious to know personally how that changed your worldview.
It made me realize that every human being has a lot more potential than they realize.
Really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, well, the biggest thing with him was the formulas. Everything had to be a formula. So when you're under pressure, you don't have to think like, okay, what do I do now? No, the formula is this. You see, I have to do it this way, I have to do it that way. If I'm actually writing a business plan, it's going to be the 5 Ps. Who are the people involved?
Right.
What kind of projects we're going to do?
it's the
What is the
performance.
positioning? What's the performance? And what are the profits? Everything is formula. So I had to talk to him in terms of formulas. Here's the problem, here's the solution. Never come to him with a problem without the solutions. So that made me think at a completely higher level. And when you start thinking with a bigger level and understanding how you can get people together to accomplish bigger things, you start looking at people not seeing their problems, but seeing their potential. You fix machines by looking at what's wrong. You fix human being by looking at what is right. But that's very hard because sometimes you get frustrated with the people working with you. You're like, what are you doing? I gave you the opportunity. Why don't you grab it? Why are you being lazy? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But you have to self-control. You have to communicate well so they can see the potential because he was not easy to deal with.
Right.
But I saw my own potential. And for that, I owe him forever.
Right. And so you did how many years with him?
8 years.
And you learned what specifically?
I learned how to put creative deals together. How the power of business and the power in life is through understanding. Understanding is the universal solvent. And understanding is based on 3 components. One is communication, where I can send you a message that you understand, you acknowledge it and respond. I understand, I respond. That's a communication cycle. Many people don't have that cycle. They hear something, they ask another question or whatever, but you're a great communicator. You're fully bilingual, you communicate very well. That's extremely powerful. I noticed that about you from the beginning. And that is hugely powerful. That's number 1 of understanding. Number 2, when you communicate, you have to have an agreement on reality. If you say, this is a phone, I have to say, yes, it's a phone. The third element is affinity. Now I like you, you like me, because we have communication, agreement on reality, we like each other, we can communicate more. These are the components of understandings. And when you communicate with people, you're able to see the common points so you can get things done. As a matter of fact, in a business meeting, what am I trying to accomplish? I'm trying to accomplish agreement. What do we agree on? This is my vision. Is everybody buying in? Can we get it done? Do you understand where we are? And that's what I learned and that's what I practice.
Wow. So creative deals. I would have thought, I'm sure my audience would have thought, why does he need to be creative? He has the money.
Because everything is a multiplication. How do you become wealthy? By getting a deal below market by taking a deal to its highest and best use, by making a deal more than it is, like maybe expanding it. And actually, the way to be in the hundreds of millions is to do it all together. Is you get a deal below market, you add value, and you multiply by getting a bunch of people that work well together and understand how to give them the direction where they agree. And next thing you know, everybody grows together. And that multiplication factor is so powerful. It's like when I get a building here in Old San Juan, and the building is empty, and it has been empty for a while. Then I take it, and I put a big tenant in it, and I fix it. Like I brought in Tommy Hilfiger. I had bought the building for $2.6 million. When I brought Tommy Hilfiger in, the building was worth $4 million. Why? It's the same building. Because they're paying a high lease. They're signing for long term. That multiplication, that multiplier effect is what's so powerful. So if I put the least amount of money to control this building, and I have extra money, and I use it in another one, that is multiplication as well. And when you multiply your money, you also multiply your effort through other people while you teach them so they can benefit and you can benefit, and you keep growing through the network with your knowledge, and not only your action, but other people's action. Not only your knowledge, other people's knowledge.
Right.
I do deals in San Francisco, California. Luxury homes, millions of dollars. Who bought a property, you can look it up. It's on Pacheco Street, 266 Pacheco Street. We bought it at 3.8 million. We put 2.2 million to fix it. Now it's for sale at $9 million. We put $1.5 million cash down payment. And the rest was all credit lines from the lenders that said, we'll give you the construction loan, etc. So now I didn't have to put the $5 million, $6 million in cash. I put 1.5, I can do another deal and another deal, so the multiplier effect is huge. I grow, the contractors grow, the community grows, the investors grow, and that's what we like to do. I learned from him how to do that safely, ethically, and profitably.
So what happened after the 8 years?
What happened after 8 years, I had gone right before I left. He had sent me to Martinique. He called me from Paris. He spent a lot of time in Paris, and he said, Sharif, I need you to go to this guy in Martinique. He has a beachfront property. And I'm going to round the numbers. This is many years ago. And he said he wants $1 million for the land. I want you to option the land. Don't give him the million yet. Give him up to 100,000 to option the land for 6 months. When you go do that, let me know. Get a cashier check from Chase Manhattan in New York. So I went, got the cashier check in the guy's name. I flew to Martinique. I speak French, so I arrived and I talked to the gentleman and I said, you want $1 million for this lot that's in front of the ocean? Beautiful beach. I said, I'll give you 100,000, but I need 6 months to close. It's an option to buy. And the gentleman looked at me and said, why am I going to wait 6 months? I want to sell now. Give me the million and move on. I said, sir, in 6 months, if I don't buy, you keep the $1 million. And
100K.
if I buy,
Yeah.
I will still give you the million extra. I
Right.
just need 6 months. He looked at me and said, are you guys crazy? Who are you representing? I said, Mr. Edmond Bessari, here is the cashier check. I remember him picking up the phone, calling Chase Manhattan. He said, I have this gentleman, Sharif Merawar, on behalf of Edmond Bessari, some wealthy guy, trying to do it. And they said, yes, we verified the check is real and all this, you can deposit it. He hung up, he said, let's do the paperwork. Well, we had the attorneys in Illinois, and they sent the paperwork, put the deal under contract. I mean, within hours, I had controlled this lot with 100,000 worth $1 million. I called Bessari in Paris, and I remember him telling me, okay, now I need you to go to the city and talk to these people and ask them for TIF. I said, what is TIF? I was lost in the definition. I didn't even know. It's tax increment financing. It's like another form of tax credits. And what I found out is you can go there and you tell the city, you want me to develop a hotel or an apartment building or something? What do you want me to develop here? And they will tell you things like, if you develop a hotel, we'll give you 40% tax credit. Meaning the cost of the land plus the cost of the development will give you back 40%. Why? Because you're helping the city now get hotel tax, occupancy tax, employing all these people in Martinique. The whole area is going to benefit because of hotel guest, but build at least 600 rooms, etc. So when I went, he told me what to do. I didn't have time to say, but I'm too young. I don't know. I'm afraid. I didn't have time. I have to go do it. You got to get it done. You go get it done, then you get motivated later or get scared later. Just go do it. So I went and I talked to the people. And they said, okay, we want you to build a hotel. This is going to be great for the area. We'll give you a 40% tax credit. And they give me the paperwork to do it. So I called him 48 hours later. I said, I have it. He said, now go sell it to Marriott or Holiday Inn. They're growing like crazy. Get me $6 million. So that was the last deal I did with him. So I flew in and I had appointments with Holiday Inn. I had an appointment in Utah with Marriott. And I remember when I sat down, they're all around the table. And I told them, we have this lot and you have tax credits. And you can build it. And you can actually benefit from it because you can get 40% back. And you'll have the building forever. Marriott hotels. And I remember they were sitting around the table and they said, we'll give you $6 million. I mean, I was so excited.
Right, because you got, yep.
Yeah, and how did I get them to get it right away? I told them the benefit. And then I said, that's an insult. That's an insult, because I learned how to negotiate with them. Finally, they asked me to step outside the room so they can talk. I came back in, and then we negotiated, and we got to $10 million.
Wow.
So listen to this, Eduardo. We went to the closing table, literally, with $100,000.
Right.
We had Marriott Hotel come in and buy $10 million. The guy got his $1 million, which was actually on top, and we walked away with $9.9 million. When I flew back,
1,000%.
yes, I went to meet him back in Wisconsin. He owned a resort called Olympia Resort and Spa. And as I was flying back, I started thinking, I have enough credit cards. I was, at the time, very young, almost 28. I said, I could get cash advance, 100,000. I could have done this deal and walked away with 9.9 million.
Right.
So when I arrived, and it was dark in Wisconsin, the resort, and I remember walking in the restaurant, there was nobody. It was a very quiet evening, and he was sitting there eating some vegetables waiting for me, and I arrived. I sat next to him, and I told him, he said, great job, great job. And you know what I got? I got a free dinner.
Right.
But it's okay. I was paying for my education. And as I was eating, I said, Mr. Besari, I've been with you 8 years. I learned so much. Now I've been able to do a deal from nothing to walk away with 9.9 million profit. He said, yes, great job. And I said, I would like to go on my own. I'd like to go do deals like this for myself. And I was eating, looking at him. And he put
Were you scared when you said told
Yes, because I felt like he has been so good to me.
Right,
and
loyal,
even though he was
right?
very difficult
you
to work with.
train him or something like that?
And I didn't know how he would react. And he put his knife and fork down. And he said, Sharif, it took you 8 years. I said, what does that mean? Is bad? Or he said, you see, you labeled yourself as working for Edmond Besari. You could have been stuck there forever. You labeled yourself working in a hotel. You wanted to be a general manager. You could have been stuck forever. You are a free man. You now can go. And all I want you to do is go help 10 other people. And that's when I started walking away thinking, oh my God, I have the power of knowledge. All I have to go is go apply this and take my life to another level. The rest is history. I went to, he called even Hilton Hotels and he told them, I'm going to give you a gift. This guy not only knows hotel business, he knows the real estate. And every owner of your hotels can talk to him and he will transform your business. So I went to work for Hilton because I was so scared to go on my own. And I started with Southern California, opening the Del Mar Hilton, and I started doing deals. First deal, I took a duplex. I separated the units. I took it for $300,000. Separated the units, sold it for $456,000. I cleared $150,000. I went from like $1,500 in the bank because I left him with no money practically, but a lot of knowledge and credit cards.
Right.
And first deal, I made $150,000. I thought I owned the world. I was walking around like, do you know who I am? I have $150,000. Do you know who I am? I have $150,000.
It felt good.
It felt
Because
amazing.
it validated your belief in yourself.
Yes.
That you could actually do it.
You go from being scared to do real estate to being so excited you can't wait to close the deal and take your life to another level.
So how do you, going back to the audience here, how do you end up in Old San Juan?
So what happened is many years later, I was flipping properties, meaning buying, fixing, and selling in California. And California have federal taxes, state taxes, Obamacare tax. You have so many taxes. So what happened is Hilton Hotels, I was doing now consulting for them, asked me to come to Embassy Suites Hotel Isla Verde, Hotel and Casino. And they said, look, I became the consultant. Anytime Hilton is going to lose the management contract, because there is a problem between them and the owners, because they are the management company and the brand, they would fly me in to fix the problem. Because I was very good with management. I worked off of formulas, and I knew the hotel
And
business
the real estate.
and the hotel real estate. So I flew in, to work, and I was working very hard with the team, wonderful team we had, and I was working around the clock because I stayed in the hotel. About 3 weeks later, one of the managers there, Adalberto Lugo, I'll never forget, he said, Sharif, you want to come with me to Old San Juan? I said, you mean San Juan? He said, no, Old San Juan. I thought like my old man, somebody different.
Right.
I said, okay, I'll go with you. He said, oh, yeah, I think you're going to love it. I remember driving in, going into Old San Juan, it was like a spiritual experience. I looked to the right, I looked to the left, I said, this is amazing, this is beautiful. Who did this? The Spaniards, Portuguese, a couple of French buildings. And then he said, and there are a lot of tax benefits. You're an entrepreneur, you always do things, there's a lot of tax benefits. I said, what does that mean? He said, I don't know. They told me there are tax benefits. But you were born here, you don't know. He said, no, I don't know because I don't care, I'm in the hotel business. So it stayed in my mind. And we won actually awards. There was the Hurricane George at the time. This is quite a few years ago. And then I left, went back to California, and I left Hilton Hotels. And as I was flipping properties in California, I paid in 2002 almost $1 million in taxes.
In taxes.
And I talked to my CPA. He said, no, you got to set up in Cayman Island. I said, what Cayman Island? I'm going to go to Puerto Rico. He said, I don't know what's in Puerto Rico. I flew in. I started talking to people. And I went to see an attorney who's a retired judge. And he told me, there are tax benefits here in Old San Juan nobody knows about. This is before Act 60 and all these tax benefits.
Right.
And he said, if you maintain the historic integrity of these buildings, the income is taxed very low and there is no property taxes. I said, this is beautiful. So I started walking around and then I saw the traffic from the cruise ships. Thousands of people coming off the cruise ships with a map in their hand telling them these are the recommended stores. Walk up on Tanca Street, go left on Fortaleza, go right on Cristo. I said, I'm going to buy some properties here. I'm going to get the tax benefits, and I'm going to service the community, and I'm going to put big tenants. It's going to be like a spiritual experience.
Did you knew anyone, like any other investors in Old San Juan when you decided to do that?
None. I didn't know anybody. As a matter of fact, when I came and asked people, hey, are you the owner? Do you want to sell? They'd be like, why? What do you want to know? For what?
And then what was the condition of Old San Juan in terms of properties? I mean, were they all abandoned? Were they all in use? How was it back then?
If I remember correctly, there was over 70 dilapidated properties.
Completely
dilapidated, like falling
shells,
apart.
Shells.
Shells. It was terrible. And when I first made my first offer to buy a property, it was 255 Tanca. A lot of people thought I was crazy.
Because it's going up.
Tanca, but I knew this is the right place. And I started rehabbing. The guy next door told me, you want to buy? I inherited this from my father, but I'm in Florida. So I bought. Then the word got out that, hey, this crazy guy in California is buying here. And I took residence here right away to reduce my taxes and develop the area. And then they told me some attorney, some lady said, a broker, she said, the attorney told my best friend, she's getting a divorce, that the judge gave them 45 days to liquidate their asset, which is a building across the street at 250 Tanca.
So, boom,
we need money now. Boom, 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 boom. Next thing I know, I started realizing there are opportunities here nobody's tapping. Thousands of people come off the cruise ship with credit card in hand shopping. The tenants want to come in, but nobody's calling tenants.
What were you seeing? I mean, all the properties were abandoned. They were abandoned for a reason. No one saw anything on it.
Yes.
So what made you think that you could? Was it your experience? Was it your the years?
So the formula.
The formula.
We'll go back to the formula.
Okay, the formula.
The formula is retail tenants, whether jewelers, clothing, or food or anything, they want traffic.
Okay.
The more traffic there is, the less they spend on marketing.
Okay.
So when I saw that there is 1.7 to 2 million people coming from the cruises, when I saw that number one visited area on the island is Old San Juan, when I saw that local hotel people and local people come and spend weekends here,
correct.
I said, this is a gold mine. I have never seen a place like this. This is the best kept secret in the entire United States of America.
Because of the traffic.
Because of traffic, the energy of the cruise business, how the local people love being here, the energy, the vibe, the museum, the churches, the historic buildings, the culture institute that maintains the colors and the integrity of the buildings. But it was abandoned. It was no big deal for them. And I said, I'm going to come in and invest the money. And I started smiling and dialing and calling the big tenants. Tommy Hilfiger. I brought Burberry. I brought Sunglass Hut. I brought in Coach. I brought in guests, brought in the Argentinian restaurants. I
Yes.
brought in the, what do you call, Fat Tuesdays. I brought in, and I
Yes.
continue to bring the biggest tenants in the world here. And when I call them, they say, Old San Juan, yeah, it's a nice place, but we go into malls. I said, I'll give you the best mall in the world. Every mall in the United States, you have to change what you have on display because you only cater to 5-mile radius. Every customer is coming back to you from every weekend. Here, I bring you a new customer every day. The
Yes.
cruise ship come in, but you have to pay me so much money. And it was a bonanza. I made in 3 years more than any time in my life,
More in even the flipping
in the
over
tens
there.
of millions.
Wow.
And the places changed and everybody benefited.
Right.
And people started asking me, do you want to come to St. Thomas? Do you want to go to Barbados? I said, no, I only stay within the United States of America. Why? We have here FDIC with the banks, we have FBI, we have systems, we have everything. And this is a fully bilingual place. We have more people speaking English here than in Miami.
Right.
You
Correct.
go here in the airport,
Yeah.
when you come out, say, where is the exit? They tell you, sir, you go straight, you go to the taxi over there. You go in Miami, you say, where is my connection? And senor, ¿qué pasó? I'm like, what? So it's beautiful.
Yes.
And then the beaches, the weather, no passport, biggest destination for weddings.
So you saw an opportunity and you went all in
Yes,
and you acquired many properties
yes.
and you smiled and dialed, got the tenants, increased the value of the properties because they corporate guaranteed with a nice
The
big,
tenants.
lease.
And upstairs, we did some offices, some medical offices. We did residential long-term. And then when the Airbnb came in and the tourism office told me we're short of hotel rooms, we started doing Airbnb. I like long-term a lot. We do some Airbnb, some long-term. They tell me I'm the largest owner of Airbnb here. I was happy to hear it, but I like long-term a lot more because it's steady income. The banks understand it better. And then I've gone through all the problems you can imagine. Like in 2006, the economy started going down because they stopped the pharmaceutical stuff. I bought in 2007, 2008, 2009.
Just kept.
Yeah, and the banks told me, we're not going to give you a lot of loans. We're going to give you less money. We're going to give you less money. You're crazy. What are you doing? You're buying too many buildings. How are you buying them next to each other? I would buy and I would go to a seller and say, do you want to sell? Not now. I'll give you 100,000, non-refundable. Whenever you want to sell, call me. I have the first right. Okay, if you're crazy enough, give me the 100. As a matter of fact, people thought I was crazy, mentally impossible. And I kept buying and putting tenants and rehabbing buildings. And then the bank started believing in what I was doing. And then in 2000, as you know, 2009, 10, 11, the economy collapsed in the United States and in Puerto Rico. In 2012, Banco Popular, I was in Banco Popular. There was a gentleman there, one of the executives, I don't want to say his name. He took me to the window and he said, Sharif, you see all these homes here in San Juan? I said, yes. He said, 80% are in default. We're living in absolute nightmare on the island. We have 13 banks. When we're done, we're going to be 6 to 7 banks left. And that's because the Federal Reserve is coming to help us. It was unbelievable. He said, what do you want to do? I'm buying more buildings. They're like, are you okay? Are you mentally crazy? And there is one Old San Juan, and sooner or later, people will understand what I'm doing. And then it started coming back 2016, because they did the tax incentive in 2012. Nothing happened till John Paulson came in 2013. It started coming back, but it was like struggling because the banks were not very comfortable with giving loans on the island. The appraisers were very careful. When it came back 2016, I was very encouraged. 2017, Hurricane Maria hit. I could not come to the island for 3 weeks. And when I came, there is a video on YouTube. I put my GoPro camera and I started filming from El Convento down Cristo, Fortaleza and Tanca. And I said, this is beautiful Old San Juan. Nothing is damaged, very little damages. You can come into the island, only water in the street. There is no blood in the street, there is water in the street. Come back. And then as I finished the filming, some people that saw me came to me, Sharif, I know you. You want to buy my building? You want to buy my building?
Oh man,
I bought
that's another
7
opportunity.
buildings from people that tell me, I want out now. One of them, we could not even do the paperwork because the electricity was so bad that we couldn't have electricity. We had to go to El Convento with the backup generator, and the attorney that did the paperwork had a paragraph. I, Sharif Merawar, is of a sound mind and spirit, and I know I'm buying when there is no electricity, when there is rain and there is hurricane, and we don't know if FEMA is going to bring money from the United States. And I signed. And when I bought, I knew because I had been on the island when it was a hotel and we had Hurricane George, and I knew this is part of the United States and billions will come in. Fast forward a year later, all these crypto crazy people came in I don't call them crazy because they're crazy. They're crazy. They're very kind of innovative and
Right.
a bit of gamblers, if you will. And I would see them walking the street, putting videos. You see how beautifully talking to their friends and all this,
Right.
because of the tax benefits.
Yes.
But what's amazing is the billions that came into the island for FEMA and to help the island. We had electricity back here on Crystal Street 5 weeks later. Some other parts of the island, sadly, it took forever. But the thing is, the island was very resilient. I remember Puerto Rico, Se Levante, all over the area. And sure enough, the families, the people came together and everything came back. And a couple years later, the bank took me to dinner and said, how come you're so smart? Now I'm smart. You've been telling me for years I'm crazy, I'm buying
Yes,
here.
yes.
I'm so smart because I told you there's one Old San Juan.
Right.
And now what's happening? I don't know if you saw, they're increasing the business for the cruises. They're digging deeper for the pier number 4. They gave tourism 75 million, 200 million more is coming. This area in 10 years will be the place to be.
I love that you say that because do we have time? So what's next for Old San Juan? I mean, it seems like it's getting purchased by small little boutique hotels, a lot of small boutique hotels. The major brands, the major retail brands, I'm not sure if they're continuing to come in. Almost seems from the outside perspective that the retail is going out a little bit, and then the tourism is coming in.
Yes, big tourism.
Is that?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Like what's next?
What's next is there is more and more business. Tourism is on the boom. More and more people discovered after the hurricane, where is Puerto Rico? The fact that you don't need an actual passport. The fact that you can be here for 10, 15 days and every single day you have 2, 3 incredible things to do, from riding horses by the beach to going to the incredible unique beaches, to go to the small islands, to go to Old San Juan and tour and spend the time to. All this has been discovered. When I used to fly to Puerto Rico and go back to California to have a meeting or something, people will ask me, how was Costa Rica? And I say, no, I was in Puerto Rico. There is a big difference. Today, nobody makes that mistake. Nobody makes the mistake. People are here and they want to invest.
So Sharif Melawar, is Sharif Melawar doubling down again?
Well,
or what's the investment formula now, a strategy?
So I have reached a point where I call there is a critical mass. I lost my wife about 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
It's God's will, it's unfortunate. But what happened is I realized that, it's time to spend more time doing other things. And that's why I realized I had 3 projects that were going because of tourism, because of tax credit. It's like history repeats itself. What I did for Bisari has come to me.
Wow.
And it's fate. If this was a movie, you would say that's an exaggeration. But it worked out like a movie, meeting a billionaire in a hotel, showing me things. I accepted the challenge, transformed my life, took another challenge, made it in California, made it in Florida. I set up my own real estate funds, educated people. My education company has 2,000 videos training people on what the potential is. Success stories, 1,000 videos on YouTube of people who have been with me 25 years teaching. Right now, I just want to teach, and I want the buildings that I have to be maintained. And if people want to partner and do deals, like what we've done together, you have been amazing with that. You saw the vision, you set up your own fund with me, and you know, and you have the experience and the vision, which not many people have. Because I'd like to add one thing. People come into the island, and local people are confused. They get confused. Should I invest in Santurce? Should I go to Guaynabo? How about over here? This is a good deal. Oh, this is a good data. Don't get confused. You want to do business, come take a look at Old San Juan. You have the location. You have the historic zone. You have everything with scarcity, and you have business that will keep increasing because the cruise business is the only business that keeps increasing. And even though during COVID, for the first time in the history of cruises, that they stopped, no tenant I had in the commercial building wanted to leave. And when they reopened in 2021, you can look it up, you can Google it. It was the biggest historic difference of spike in tourism on the island in its history. In its history, we have never done as well as we're doing now. The rest is beautiful. I just want to maintain what I have, do a few partnerships with good people like you, and grow it to the next level. And those who don't know what it is, great. We take it to our advantage. Those who know, we partner with them.
Right. Well, Sharif, I mean, Wow. I'm going to be respectful of your time
Thank you.
because I could stay here. Me puedo quedar aquí haciéndole 20,000 preguntas más de su estrategia, de todo lo que ha hecho, pero vamos a respetar su tiempo. I just want to thank you from our team and my wife and I. We appreciate you, and
Thank you.
I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I mean, maybe off camera you can tell me, but I told Paula, I'm like, Paula, even if we lose money, let's do this deal.
You're not going to lose money.
We're not going to lose money, but is that a stupid thing to think like that sometimes?
No, because actually, you have the right location with the San Sebastian.
But not because of the finance or the performance of the
Yes.
deal. But have you ever went into a situation where, like, I think there's other intangibles
Yes.
that can benefit me, not necessarily the money. Have you ever, or is the formula the formula?
No, there are other intangibles,
There are?
especially when it comes to connecting with people.
Okay.
And I can tell you that I worked for Bisari for practically nothing. I was making 16,800 a year. Of course, that was a long time ago, and 16,000 was like, I don't know, maybe 40,000 now. But I accepted the challenge with him, and I worked 8 years to pay my dues. And that was the price I had to pay. There is always a price to pay. And the beauty is, you have an opportunity that you say, if I do this, I can take it to another level.
Yes.
And I'm going to connect with Sharif.
Yes.
I'm going to build a team, and then
Yes.
we can take a bigger project, a
Yes.
bigger win.
Yes.
Success doesn't come like this. Success is this, because there are many factors. It's you, the team, the market. Any mistake, I think to myself, is it me that caused the mistake? Is it the team, or is it the market? And I analyze, and I actually observe, and I correct and improve.
Right.
And you're on the right track. You and Paula are a great team, and the team that's with you is going to actually, everybody's going to grow together. I'm very excited about the potential.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, Sharif. I appreciate you having, siendo en el podcast de Joy. Mi nombre es Eduardo Joy, inversionista de bienes raíces, con uno de los inversionistas más grandes que yo he conocido en mi vida, Sharif Medawar. Es un honor tenerlo aquí. Y él tiene su propio canal de YouTube. Vamos a poner su información en la descripción de este video. El canal de YouTube. We're going to tag your YouTube info on the chat on this video so that people can look at all the content, get educated. I mean, él está aquí en el patio. Él se mudó aquí años antes de cualquier incentivo y está aquí y su número de teléfono está en todas las propiedades que tú ves en la calle Fortaleza. Entonces lo puedes llamar directamente. Right? People call you up because they see the numbers.
Yes, yes.
They're all in all the buildings. So, así que gracias a 1,000,000 por sintonizar. El objetivo que nosotros queremos es inspirarte a ti, latino, a que tú puedas coger control de tu futuro, tomar control de tu futuro utilizando las bienes raíces como ese vehículo de transformación. Y es lo que le ha funcionado a él y gracias pues por su amabilidad y su humildad, pues me está enseñando a mí, yo también pues lo estoy haciendo, enseñándolo para adelante y siempre paying it forward. Así que gracias a todos por sintonizar. Hasta luego. Chao.
Thank you.